Canto 10, Chapter 25, Text 19. Sorry, what? No, it's okay. Yeah. Iti uktva ekena hastena kritva govardhana achalam dadhara lilaya vishnuhu chatrakam iva balakaha iti uktvaikena hastena kritva govardhanachalam dadhara lilaya vishnu chatrakam iva balakaha iti uktvaikena hastena kritva govardhanachalam dadhara lilaya vishnu chatrakam iva balakaha iti uktvaikena hastena kritva govardhanachalam dadhara lilaya vishnu chatrakam iva balakaha Nahastena Govardhanachalam Iti utvaikena hastena Govardhanachalam Vishnush Aiva Balakaha. Mataji. Oh, Utvaikena hastena Govardhanachalam Vishnu Akamiva Balakaha Iti Uktvaikena Hastena Tva Govardhanachalam Dadhara Lilaya Vishnu Chatrakam Iva Balakaha. Mataji. Ityuktvaikena hastena Govardhanachalam Dadhara Lilaya Vishnu Chatrakamiva Balakaha. Word to a translation. Iti, thus, uktva, having spoken, ekena, with one, hastena, hand, kritva, taking, Govardhana Chalam, Govardhan hill, Dadhara, he held it, Leelaya, very easily, Vishnuhu, Lord Vishnu, Chatrakam, a mushroom, Iva, just as, Balakaha, a child. Translation and purport by servants, followers of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Translation: having said this, Lord Krishna, who is Vishnu himself, picked up Govardhan hill with one hand and held it aloft just as easily as a child holds up a mushroom. Purport: it is confirmed in the Hari Vansh that Sri Krishna picked up the Govardhan mountain with his left hand, Sadrita Sangato Megher Giri Savyena Parnina. With his left hand, he picked up that mountain which was touching the clouds. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, when Lord Krishna was preparing to lift Govardhan hill, a partial expansion of his Yogamaya potency named Sangharika temporarily removed all the rain from the sky, so that as he ran very swiftly from the porch of his house to the mountain, neither his turban nor other garments became wet. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschate Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasini Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti uktvaikhena hastena kritva govardhana chalam dadhara leelaya vishnush chatrakam iva balaka. Having said this, Lord Krishna, who is Vishnu himself, picked up Govardhan hill with one hand and held it aloft, just as easily as a child holds up a mushroom. So from this verse begins actual narration of Krishna's lifting Govardhan hill, which is known as Girivara, best of the mountains, because it was touched by Krishna, and also known as the best devotee of Krishna simultaneously. Within Krishna Lila, this pastime of Govardhan hill is very prominent for many reasons, mainly because it shows Krishna's protective power. A very big feature of material life is fear, and who to take shelter of, how to take shelter. So this pastime shows how the circumstances were so bad for the Vrajvasis. There was no hope, but they took shelter of Krishna, and so they were protected. Even though they were in front of Devatas are supposed to be more powerful than us. So human beings facing demigods, how can that work? But in this distressed condition, they took shelter of Krishna and were protected, and not just protected, but in a very grand way. Lifting of the hill, Govardhan, openly showing that there was no way the Devatas or anyone else could attack them, the way Krishna chose to protect them, the way he showed it. So generally speaking, in material life now, as in conditioned state, if we are in a distressed condition, what are we trained to do? Because of our modern so-called education system, we are taught we have to rely on our intelligence, our strength, or strength of someone else. another mortal person. We are taught, atheistic education system, that we can do it. And even if we can't do it, we have to will it and know that we can do it, and it will be done. This is how we are taught. Which is true, okay, we are not totally, we shouldn't just give up and rely on someone's mercy. We should endeavor, but there should be an underlying understanding of who is actually in charge in the cosmos, who is in charge, who's controlling every single small movement, including us. Through knowledge, one can come to that understanding. So if one is actually knowledgeable, has proper knowledge realization, then they will understand it's completely pointless for us to give shelter to ourselves, or for someone else to give shelter to us. And some people who think that, there's a saying in English, ignorance is bliss. Either a very mad person will try to, basically a mad person will think that we are completely powerful and we can protect ourselves from anything, whatever happens, through our brain, our science, our education, our advancement, our this great civilization. So a person who is not in knowledge, otherwise if we study, for example, the Vedas, we can understand what is our position, that we are under so many factors within ourselves. We are at the mercy of our senses. Plus we have karma, which can act any time. So in this circumstance, what will we do? Who are we? And so those who try to take shelter of themselves, or some other material shelter, we can understand they are not in knowledge. They don't know the philosophy. They don't understand the actual situation of this world. But that is real intelligence. That is real science. So, in order for us to turn our consciousness to Krishna, to accept Him as a complete provider, protector, and actually other things also at higher level, we understand even our love should be reposed in Krishna, our service. But at least at beginning level, we should understand that Supreme Absolute Controller is Krishna, He's God. So in order for that, one has to be educated about God. Education is needed, or we have to say re-education, because we were educated, but what's the result of our education? Fear, extreme anxiety, especially now in materialistic society. There are different diseases and effects of this civilization, but what we are seeing in major cities, mental health is a big problem. Deterioration in mental health. So this is a result of our shelter, our education, our knowledge. So re-education, we have to now understand about who is God. Not only who is God, that's easy, I can say one word, Krishna. But this entity we are calling God, what is it? What does it entail? And that's also very basic in our modern, mundane religious systems. Very basic idea of what is God. God is provider, God is controller, that's it. But as Prabhupada said, we don't only have to keep repeating, God is great, but we have to understand how great He is. Proper understanding is needed. So that will come by proper education. In Sanskrit you have this Param Satyam. Satya means truth. Truth means what is the actual fact. Because what we are seeing, what we think is truth is not, it's illusion. I'm earning money, I'm in charge of my destiny, or these people are dependent on me. This is asat. We have to understand the truth. What is the truth? What is the actual vision? That is satya. And then Satyam, truth. They are levels of truth. Then we have the Param Satyam, absolute truth, the completely highest understanding of actually what is going on. It can be presented in different levels, even within Bhagavad Gita. Krishna actually speaks the highest thing at chapter 18. Before that, he establishes various levels of truth. You have to do your duty. Why? You go to heaven, you go to Svarga. So, we have to understand the nature of Param Satyam, absolute truth. So when we understand about the absolute truth, that means we have the proper vision of who is in charge, how is in charge, and then we can properly put our faith and our faith, and we can look for protection. But that is at basic level. At higher level, we don't even seek protection. But we can repose not only our sense of security, but also love, our service, and, well, the word is given in Samam Bonam in our Srimad Bhagavatam, which means the complete goal of all actions, all thoughts, all endeavors. Samam Bonam. We have to come to that point. So by proper study of the absolute truth, we can come to that point. Then the question is, where is that knowledge? It's not there. I mean, in various scriptures, it's not there at all. We are told, okay, surrender to God. Okay, who? Surrender to God. Who is God? What is His nature? Glorify God. Praise the Lord, we read in many stickers. Praise the Lord. Oh, now what we're going to praise if we don't know His name, form, qualities, pastimes? We don't know anything. What are we going to praise? So, in this way, Srimad Bhagavatam is Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam, very dear to devotees, because it illuminates the subject of Param Satyam. And we are supposed to meditate on that features of the absolute truth, Param Satyam Dhimahi. So we have to know who He is, what He is. That is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam many translations are there. In one place, Srila Prabhupada says, beautiful science of God. Bhagavan, Supreme Absolute, Bhagavat, everything in relation to Bhagavan. Bhagavat can mean a devotee. Srimad Bhagavatam, all topics in relation with the Supreme. It discusses science of God. Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam, science of God. There is no limit to science of God, because God is Asim. Krishna is Asim, which means He has no limit. How much are we going to study? As much as we can comprehend. Yatha Matihi, Sutta Goswami says, according to my realization, I'm going to explain you about God, about Srimad Bhagavatam. So what is our limit? And according to our limit, Krishna sends different representatives to teach about Him. And some places people were very limited, they got very little knowledge, but that was their level. But the topmost knowledge is in Srimad Bhagavatam. Even as we said, it's unlimited. How much can we say about God? When Arjuna asked Krishna that, can you tell me about your glories? Vistaranatmano yogam vibhutim cha janardana. Tell me about your mystic power, your greatness, vibhutis, how you're pervading this world, how you are in control of everything. So Krishna says immediately that Hanta he katayishyami, I'm going to speak about my truth, my absolute truth. Hanta katayishyami divyayatma vibhutaya, about my mystic power and opulences. Pradhanyata, the main features of my greatness. Because nasti anta vistarashyami, there is no end to my glories. How much will I speak? What we understand is, Ananta Shesh is glorifying Krishna non-stop with his unlimited heads, Anant. He's glorifying Krishna from beginning of the creation, has not reached a limit. And as Prabhupada said, that each verse of Bhagavatam can be looked at in so many different ways. So the limit to understanding God is our consciousness. What is our limit of consciousness? And therefore we pray, please, Krishna, reveal this knowledge to me. Lord Brahma also prayed, he also went through what Indra went through. Then he realized Supreme Absolute Truth is Krishna. So he also, in his prayers, mentioned that Prashadam leshanugrit eva hi janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno. That only by your mercy, Krishna, can one understand you, your glories, Bhagavan mahimno. When you give your mercy, then we are reading the words of Gita and Bhagavatam, but they are not being revealed. But they can be revealed by Krishna's mercy. Otherwise, one verse is enough for us to realize absolute truth. So the limit to understanding is within us. Some people say things like, but how can God descend in this world? How is it possible that you're worshipping a deity form, Krishna, and God is reciprocating? How can you say God has no origin? Sometimes they want to trap us. That you say everything has origin. Yes, God is origin of everything. Yes. What is God's origin? How are we going to answer that? God has no origin. Otherwise, whatever is origin, that is God. He's origin of everything. So people ask, how is it possible? So Rupa Goswami explained that if we are going to understand about God, first thing you have to understand is achintya. God cannot be conceived fully in our consciousness. Chinta means conceiving, knowing, perceiving. So he's achintya. He cannot be fully placed in your mind, intelligence. Unless he can give the power to that, to do that, as he did with Arjun, when he showed the Virat Roop. Everything was visible in one place. All of time and space was available, was conceivable at that time to Arjun in that vision. That generally it's not possible for us. So Rupa Goswami explains that one should accept this point. If we're going to understand about God, study about God, first point is that you cannot fully comprehend Him. So this word should not come that how can God do this? How is it possible? We can't question that. Rather we can question, how am I to understand this feature? Where God is saying He's even in the atom, He's greatest and He's the smallest. Vedic system is avaroha panta. So we are given the statement, how to comprehend, how to understand it. So it's elaborated. But if we come to the point of challenging, okay, then where do we stand with our little intelligence? Where do we stand? How will we now come to the absolute truth? So in study of absolute truth, there are many topics, many fields, but Bhagavatam says, broadly classifying into 10 topics. Verse comes in 2nd canto, 10th chapter. Atra sarga visargascha sthana porshana mutaya manvantaresha katha nirodho mukti ashraya. So 10 topics. Creation, then the sub-creation, creation within the universe. Then the structure of the universe. What is the structure of the planetary systems, material, spiritual? Poshana, this is protection. How the Supreme Lord protects. And next, Uthaya. Uthaya means creative impetus. The studying why the creation happened. Manvantaras and the Manvantara time periods. Ishanukatha, science of God, actual studying of the personality of Godhead. Nirodha means love of God, going back to Godhead. Nirodha. Mukti, liberation, and ashraya, which translates to samam bonam. In other words, the complete goal of all our endeavors and all our actions, Krishna, shelter under Him, how to attain that Supreme. So one of the topics is Poshanam. Poshana means protection. Protection from the Lord. How the Lord gives protection. For us to surrender to the Supreme Lord, there 6 points are there. Anukulyasa Sanghapa, then this verse comes. So one of that is Rakshishatiti Vishwasa. Having faith that Krishna will protect us. If we don't have that, then this is one of the 6 points that enables us to surrender to the Supreme Lord. So to attain faith that Krishna will give protection, we have to read about it also. See how Supreme Lord, how so many devotees surrendered to the Supreme Lord and completely relied on Him. So we see, for example, Gajendra, how Gajendra took shelter. We see throughout Bhagavatam how so many took shelter. Even Vritrasur externally appeared like a demon, but was a devotee. We see how so many people surrendered to Krishna. Now we see in the 10th canto how Vrajvasis surrendered. So in case of Vrajvasis, they accepted without hesitation whatever Krishna said, even though they knew there will be repercussions, there will be some effect, whatever they're doing, some negative effect. But they could understand, they had fully surrendered to Krishna, so they willingly gave up their other shelters and listened to what Krishna said. And then when the trouble came, they called Krishna. So for a person to attain this level of surrender, in the beginning it requires a lot of knowledge, philosophical knowledge, to understand how Krishna has absolute power. Absolute means no gap, everything is 100% in control. So through knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam, in these 10 topics, we can see how Krishna is creating, maintaining, destroying everything. And He's the active principle in everything. Even Bhagavad Gita says that at beginning level. Bhagavad Gita is supposed to be preliminary study of Bhagavad. But Bhagavad Gita also explains how Krishna is time, He's sound in ether, He's the light of sun and moon, taste of water, He's the Veda, the knower of the Vedas, He's consciousness, and then after some time we realize Krishna is everything. And whatever we see in material world, everything expanded from Krishna. The separated energies, Bhinname Vakadirashtada. So that also comes from Krishna. So by studying Gita and Bhagavatam, Gita preliminarily we understand, and Bhagavatam expands more, much more, than we see how Krishna is, in detail we see how He is pervading and controlling everything. This part is essential. We have very high levels of devotion and bhakti and surrender to God, but we have to come to this point because we came to this material world thinking we are the supreme enjoyer. The first 9 cantos, they give the background topics so that when we come to hearing about Krishna, His name, form, qualities, pastimes, then we really appreciate what it is. Or because our experience is material, everything material, material form, material sound, and we understand limits of material nature. So with that limit, we cannot properly conceive of God. So background information has to be given out, what is matter, what is spirit, how Krishna is not bound at all, and His different avatars, incarnations, how He appears in someone's nose, or He can just come out of a pillar. He's not bound at all by space, time, and material laws. So gradually we come to understanding this is supreme absolute truth. And we understand. Then when we hear this pastimes of Krishna, then we can appreciate what is actually happening. That material infection is limiting. So within Krishna's pastimes, then we see how Krishna chastises any demonic propensity in anyone, and even the devatas, he chastises Brahma, Indra, Shiva and others. One reason why we may overlook, and they overlooked, how Krishna is supreme is because what is prominent about Krishna is his pastimes, which are carefree, just running around in forests, riverbank, dancing, playing. That's the Supreme Lord. But then we will judge because we think power has to be exhibited and shown. We see someone with strength has to be physically powerful. We have our own judgment for how we accept someone as great and powerful. So then we can get confused when we see that Krishna is supreme. It's difficult for some people to accept. And so Brahma got confused, Indra got confused. Brahma saw Krishna running around. It's mentioned he had fruits, curd in his hand, left hand, walking without shoes. This is Supreme God. How can it be? Let me test. Indra also got confused. But we understand Supreme, in the Vedas it's explained, Supreme Lord has nothing to do. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. He has nothing to do. He'll just be enjoying. So, this is a feature of the Absolute Truth. We may accept someone as supreme because of our own perception, but what is the attributes of the Supreme? This is given in the Vedas. Definitions are given that Shadaishwarya Purna. He'll have the 6 qualities in full. He has nothing to do. He's always Anandamaya Bhyasa, always enjoying, not in anxiety, not in no occupation, nothing. So, through pastimes exhibited by Krishna, we can see in his avatar forms how he's supreme, he's great, Vishnu form, other forms. And then we come to understand about Krishna. But to understand about Krishna immediately is, it won't be fruitful, we won't be able to properly understand. So therefore, the favorite chapters of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is exemplifying a devotee, was narrations of Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada also. He used to like hearing from those sections because they reinforce knowledge of our Sambandha Gyan and what is our position, what is God's position, what is our limit, and how He comes, gives protection to His devotees. So then when we hear the actual pastimes of Krishna, then we can understand what they really are. Of course, there's much more depth to Krishna Leela. Not simply, there's a lot of subtle, rasa and all these things, which now I have limited knowledge, but we can understand Govardhan Leela, for example. There were many things happening at once. That was one thing, protection of Krishna. But another thing we can understand is that Vrajvasis used to like seeing Krishna, but they could not see him all the time. When he's at home, they'll see him. His parents will see him. When he's around the village playing, his devotees in the village will see him. When he takes the cows out, they'll not see him. They will not see him. Cows will see him, but the cows won't see him until he comes and takes them for grazing. So in the Govardhan Leela, for 7 days, everyone could see him for 7 days, non-stop. But of course, that was also not enough. He wanted unlimited. So there are different levels of pastimes that we understand. It would be one of the most agonizing things for the Vrajvasis was when Krishna would disappear from vision. He'll go for his other pastime. So we can understand 2 aspects are there in Krishna's Leelas, the sweet aspect and this powerful controlling personality aspect. So in the beginning, one has to come to comprehend this powerful controlling aspect to understand who is God. Then that is underlying understanding of God, and then after that, other higher understandings of aspects of Krishna. So we had to be convinced at least Supreme Lord is greater than us. We came here thinking, I am enjoyer, I am the master, Ishwaraham aham bhogi. So we had to be convinced at least he's greater than us, and much, much greater. And that evokes devotion, bhakti. Even in worldly sense, a great personality, everyone wants to know, what does he eat, what does he do, what is his schedule in the morning? These super rich, materially rich people, or some great politician or athletes. It evokes some sentiment of grandeur. So Supreme is much greater, and we hear that greatness, then the bhakti is evoked like that. And this is Bhagavad Gita's. In the beginning, Bhagavad Gita explains the greatness of God. Bhagavatam continues there. So when we hear greatness of God, then we understand much more. Oh, He's supreme. I am nothing. I have to surrender to Him. And we have to know in detail, because we have so many plans and so many ways that we think we are so great, so supreme. But systematically reading philosophy, Krishna, and many places in Gita, Krishna will repeat, I am great. Aham adirhi devana, aham sarvasya prabhavo. Yo mameva ma samuda janati purushottama sa sarvavit. Even though we know, he'll repeat and repeat and repeat. And Prabhupada's purports, he'll repeat the same line. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Then again, Krishna is supreme. Krishna is supreme. He is, nothing is equal to him or greater. In the same purport, he may repeat few times. That's something we need to hear again. Then we get convinced, yes, he's supreme. But just like Devatas, we may forget. We are aspiring to come to Krishna, then we forget he's supreme. And merciful Krishna will remind us he's supreme by some pastime, like what happened here. When Krishna's mercy comes, we are thinking, how will the mercy come? Food, clothing, shelter, we may think. But his mercy may come with no food, no shelter, or some heavy action. For example, in this pastime, who got protection? Vrajvasis. But Indra got protection. From what? In text 17, it says, Krishna says that exactly. Since demigods are endowed with the mode of goodness, the false pride of considering oneself the Lord should certainly not affect them. When I break the false prestige of those who are for goodness, my purpose is to bring them relief. So actually, who got the mercy? Indra got mercy also. Vrajvasis got mercy, protection. Indra got protection from false ego, false identity. In this way, we may not think how the mercy is coming. It may come in a different form. Okay, Hare Krishna, I have to stop at 8:30. Srimad Bhagavatam